Welcome to Steel Spotlight TV and radio and William Steel True Crime. We have a very special guest today. She's actually a huge fan of mine from inmate to roommate on A&E. Now, Cindy is a realtor up in the Connecticut area, just a hardworking person. She had a TV show. I was actually on her show, and she's doing many, many good things. But she published something recently about a scam that people are purporting to be from the Bank of America. And this scam is spreading nationwide, she put out a warning on her Facebook to everybody, and what the script was basically to be wary of this script coming from a spoofed call. When I read it, I had just learned that my friend was scammed and gave over his money the day before. So unfortunately, your warning came too late for me to help my friend. But thank you for coming on the show. Please introduce yourself a little bit better and tell me, how the heck did you come across this? How did they reach out to you?
Yeah, it was crazy. Well, my name is Cindy Sevell. I'm in Connecticut. I'm a realtor. I own a little business, and I help senior citizens. I'm an author, a talk show host also. And and I loved having you on my show. I have to tell you, you have quite an amazing story. Start with that. I was on my way out. I was actually heading to Long Island to a breast cancer fundraiser that I was speaking at, and rush in. And I get a phone call, and I normally don't answer calls I don't know, but it said Bank of America on my caller ID, and it had the phone number. I kind of recognized the number. It looked legit. It turns out it was the exact number, Bank of America's number. And so I thought, maybe there's a problem. So I said, let me answer the phone. So I picked up, and they sounded very, very official, and they verified some basic information. Looking back, I realized they didn't verify information that they wouldn't know. You know what I mean? It was just basic, like your full name with my middle initial, the last 4 digits of my cell phone, which they just called. I think about it. But the first thing they said was, we're calling you because there's an alert on your card or alert on your account, and there's 3 transactions. Somebody opened an account in your name. Did you open an account yesterday? And somebody from the Bronx. And were you in the Bronx, and did you open an account? And I said, no. And then you get nervous. Then you don't really think about those little details that you should be thinking about. So I said, no. I said, well, somebody in the Bronx opened an account yesterday. Did you get an email? I said, no, I didn't get an email. Well, you should have been notified with an email. And they're trying to take out, it was about $3,000. And there were 3 different transactions. Yeah. Yep. By Zelle. And so I said, well, who opened this? Is there a name associated? Is there an email associated? Well, they gave me a name. I won't say it because it's probably someone's name they pulled out of a hat.
When you say they, was this a male or a female? And did it sound like a foreign accent? Because I'm hearing it wasn't.
Yeah, it was a foreign accent. It was a man. Yeah, okay. It was a man, and then he transferred me afterwards to the fraud department, and that was a woman. But they both had, they're outsourcing things, and I just figured it was in India. It was I don't know where it is,
Right.
But he had that accent, and he sounded.
And of course, they're telling you somebody's already messing with your account, and then you're talking to the fraud investigator. So they're here to help you while they're there to really pick your pockets. Go ahead.
Yeah, get your personal information.
Please, we're trying to raise awareness here. Listen closely to what she's saying. Ignore my interruptions. Tell this story. My fans need to hear about this and how to avoid getting tricked in this Bank of America scam that's being perpetrated by criminals.
And it's just so, I'm an intelligent, college-educated woman. I work with a vulnerable population, the seniors, the senior citizens. And those people, let me tell you, seniors probably would fall for it because, again, sounding so official, it's scary. I was so upset. I sat down. I was getting anxious, tears in my eyes. I'm like, oh my God, somebody has my information, my personal information, attacking my bank accounts. So I asked a lot of specific questions, and he gave me specific answers. I'm like, okay. So then he said to me, I'm going to transfer you. And I said to him, how could they attack? They said that he said first that they attach your bank account. And if there's nothing in that bank account, they're going to go to another bank account until they can fund the Zelle transactions. Because I said,
Wow.
if they open the account, did they put money in the account? And he said they tried to put $1. That's what he said. They tried to put $1. And so he said, well, how can they get money out of an account with no money in it? And he said, that's when he said, well, they attach it to your other accounts. So he says, I'm going to transfer.
That's their way to get your additional account information if you have any.
Exactly.
Right.
But then he transferred me after about, 15 minutes or so with him. And I was all nervous. And he said, we'll take care of this. I'm going to try to stop those transactions from going through. Let me transfer you to the fraud department. And he had an official name for the fraud department. So then a woman picks up. They put me on hold. And so it sounds like, it feels like it's official. Put me on hold for, about a minute or so. And then a woman picks up, and she's from the fraud department. And she said to me, she went through everything. And I said, well, why is this happening? I mean, I don't understand how this is happening. And how can you open an account without, you probably need some other information. And, and she just said, well, this happens all the time. I said, well, how can I stop this from happening in the future? And she said to me, she gave me some advice. She says, don't buy anything on Amazon. It's crazy. Don't buy anything on Amazon, she said, that has under 3 ratings. Okay. Yeah. And she said, but again, this is the fraud. The person's, frauding me or committing fraud, rather.
Okay.
And she gave me some other advice, and I'm thinking, okay. So then she says, all right, can you go to your account? Because we need to get an email from you to confirm that it's you. And I said, oh, okay. I'm thinking, but why? I said, and I asked her why. She goes, we just need confirmation it's you so that we can stop those 3 transactions from going through. And I said, okay, so what do I have to do? Now I'm nervous. I open up my my bank account on my cell phone, and she's telling me to look for something, and something specific on the phone, and I couldn't find it. And I'm not big into, I do banking online. I think a lot of us do, but I'm not really big onto what they, what's offered on the cell phone. So I finally find, she's frustrated already. You could tell she's getting a little frustrated with me. I finally find what she wants me to do, and it's a Zelle. And it's I had to go to the Zelle. And I said, I'm a little confused. Isn't Zelle for sending money? Why would Bank of America want me to Zelle money? And she said to me, already. And she said, listen, because then I said, are you really Bank of America? And she said to me, listen, we're trying to help stop these transactions. Time is of the essence. If you want to go to the bank, if you want to go to the bank, you have 20 minutes to get there. And then I was like, who says that? It was 2:40.
A lot of scam artists in a situation like this will instill a sense of urgency, or else the guy's going to get.
Exactly. And so when she said that, no Bank of America rep would ever say, oh, you have 20 minutes to get to the bank before they close. Now, my bank closes later anyway. That right there, I thought, no, that doesn't sound too kosher. No. So, but then I said, I went along with it. At that point, I knew that I felt like it was a scam. But I said, all right, what is it you want me to do? I found what you told me to look for. It was going to the Zelle. And she wanted, so I said, okay, but I wasn't going to, follow through. Right. But I wanted to see
you just wanted to hear for scam, basically.
Yeah, 25 minutes already on the phone. So I thought, let me just see what they're, she goes, okay. Yeah. And I went from being nervous, crying, upset. And I'm like, oh my God. And now I'm like, oh my God, wait, my antennas were up. They definitely, if you really listen, you'll hear, some of those little clues. And she finally had me go to Zelle and put in an email address. And the email address, I was waiting for I wrote the whole thing down, and it wasn't at bankofamerica.com. And so I don't remember what it was. Some crazy, it was a long, with lots of letters and numbers. And I said, I'm really uncomfortable with this. I don't think you're Bank of America. I'm going to call Bank of America myself. And I just hung up on her. And then I called Bank of America. Same phone number.
To be clear, right, fake phone number. I was going to say that. For my audience, look, there's ways and apps that people can call you and make it look like it's coming from General Motors main switchboard or main number or from Bank of America. So just because you see it on your caller ID and you're like, okay, that's confirmed. You look it up. Oh, that's their number on their website. No, there's apps that fraudsters use to make your caller ID show a number that they wanted to show. I don't know how these apps are legal, but they are, and
I
there
know.
you go. So
Yeah.
before you go any further, I'll tell my audience this. Here's how it became so personal for me. A friend of mine in South Florida, we'll call him Vito. Vito is very dear to me. He said, "Hey, I need some help, because my fiance, she's a fraud examiner and a forensic accountant and everything. And can you figure out what I should do about something?" And he mapped out this entire thing that happened to him, and he lost about 10 grand. So we looked into it. We gave him a bunch of guidance. Mary did, and it was literally the next day because it was Bank of America. It was a spoof number for Bank of America. He looked it up on the webpage. It was Bank of America. He was busy doing something that had a deadline. He was distracted. He didn't quite feel right about it, but it was so professionally done. He did it, and they used Zelle. Somehow they took it. It was just around 10 grand from him. Anyway, by the time he was able to shut it down through the fraud department at the real bank, there was already
Mhm.
two other pending transactions. One of the things they told him, I'll tell you how this plays out a little further because he went a little further. They told
Okay.
him you shut down your account for 48 hours for security reasons. Well, his account was open at the time, and he says, "Well, my account's open. I'm staring at it. No, you didn't shut down my access." "Oh, that's just because you're already in it." So he quickly logged out, logged back in, and he said it opened right back up. And then she said, "Oh, that must be a glitch," because the fraudster has no way to shut down your account for security reasons at all.
Right.
So
Right.
eh, listen to your gut. Don't listen to these people that call you up. They will never
Yeah.
call you asking you for so much personal information. Call them back, or better yet, walk into your branch, say, "Hey, this is going on. Is this happening to my account?" But get there quick, or call them quick and get involved. So now what happens? Do you call Bank of America later and report all this to them?
So I called Bank of America immediately. Yeah. And remember, I was in a rush too. I was rushing out the door. I had a over 3 hour drive, and I missed the ferry because I couldn't get to the ferry. And so, anyways, I was in a rush, and so I called Bank of America, and the woman was so nice. I was so upset, and I explained everything that happened, and she says she took notes, she documented this, and she said we're gonna investigate this, but I want you to know, as you were talking, I took the liberty to check all your accounts, and you are totally fine. There's no pending charges, no Zelle, no this, no that. And, it's safe, but I'm going to put an alert on your account anyway. And I said, please, I said, because it's nerve wracking, but it was all a big spoof. And what I don't understand, and maybe you can tell me what happened with your friend. They wanted me to Zelle, and I didn't get as far as, it was just the email address. And I don't know, obviously when you're Zelling money. So is that what he did? Did he Zelle the money to Bank of
Right. It
America?
was exactly the same thing. Bank of America, and they told him to use Zelle.
Yeah.
And he. So here's the thing. Now he has it escalated to the fraud department, and the
Mhm.
initial response from Bank of America. Bank of America, do the right thing. You have upstanding clients, hardworking people that have their money with you. Do the right thing. Reimburse these accounts. You guys are insured. You're making a fortune off the rest of us. Do the right thing. Reimburse some of these accounts. Now he's being told initially from Bank of America, might have changed today or hopefully tomorrow. That'll change because you took it upon yourself to do this, you know, and you use Zelle. It's not us. We don't have to reimburse you. Well, the banks
Right.
are encouraging all of us to use Zelle. I'm
Right.
not going to say which banks I use, but they're encouraging you to use Zelle. So I'm sure, somebody will approach me with some crazy scam. But, I was in prison for a very long time. I've heard it all. I got out. I'm starting to hear about these scams. I told you before, and I'll tell my viewers this real quick because I'm going to be putting out a series of scam videos. If you feel you were scammed or you heard of a scam that you want to help shut down, I'll bring you millions of fans to listen to it. Come on the show. We'll talk about it like I'm doing with Cindy. We're going to raise awareness. This is a true crime / inspirational channel. I want to tell stories like this to help people. I've turned my life around, and I want to help to protect my friends and fellow citizens and all that good stuff, and just try to be a normal guy and do the right thing and use my platforms to help people. That being said, when I first got out of prison, I'm filming a reality show for A&E. I get my first cell phone. You guys saw that episode, and I get a call like that evening, and the guy says with an accent, "Hey, Mister Such and Such, you won. $25 million. I have your cashier's check right here. I'm in the next town. We're going to have a courier bring it over. However, I just need some information before we can have the guy deliver it. And of course he was asking me, the verified date of birth, social security, routing number for my bank, blah, 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 blah. So I already knew this guy was full of crap, So I put on the old man voice. Oh, very confused. I just lost my wife a few months ago, and this is so exciting. If only she was here to see it, And I just went on and on. I let the guy talk, and I was just kind of taking notes because I knew I was going to be doing a true crime channel. I wanted to expose some of these type of people that would prey on seniors. So I just played like the lonely old widow, and I was a confused guy instead of a street smart guy from Brooklyn who did a lot of time and sees right through your ass. So he's trying to run all this crap by me. And I said, okay, I was so excited. And he says, I'll call you back later. I said, yeah, but call me at this other number. I quickly had looked up the number, and I gave him the number for the New York City Police Department. And he goes, like, wait a minute, why can't I call you on the number that we're talking on right now? I said, don't ever call me on this one again. This is the one I use for all my scams. And I hung up on him.
I love it. That's awesome.
And then, of course, the ones say, I'm from the police athletic league. As soon as you turn on a new phone number, you get that call. Everybody gets that one. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not against anti-law enforcement, but who the hell are you? And how do you find out the list of numbers that were just recently activated on a phone? How are these people even getting these lists? Whether you're police or not, how are you getting these lists? Anyway.
Right.
So yeah, Garrett, in my friend's case, he is still working with the fraud department trying to resolve this. And again, Bank of America is claiming because it was Zelle. But then why Bank of America are you pushing people to use Zelle? If you're not going to back up or insure or whatever your business model is, do the right thing by your clients. The clients are always right. The guy's got a track record of nothing but being a law-abiding citizen. Do the right thing. If you have something to report, let us know. Cindy, you want anything to add to this, or we can close out, give a shout out to whoever you want?
Yeah, no, I'm just going to say you feel violated. You really feel violated because, and it's crazy how sophisticated all these scams have gotten, But no, just, be careful, be mindful. I put it out there on my social media just to share with everybody. It happened to me. That means it's going to happen to someone else. I don't want to see it happen to anybody I care about. I'm sorry it happened to your friend.
Yeah, exactly. And so I read, like I said, I read him and his wife the script that you published. Hey, say this. They're like, oh my God, that's so virtually verbatim, and I went for it. And I felt horrible. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So look, you're a realtor, and I used to work for Century 21 before I went to prison back in the '80s in Brooklyn. Yeah.
Wow.
So wherever I go, I generally quickly become top salesman. I treat people in sales how I want to be treated. I'll hand out, instead of one business card, 4. I always say thank you cards. I'm always just constantly, booking and showing and listing, networking, all kinds of stuff, right? You know the deal. Yeah. However, when I went bad, and I was also a last I combined those skills, and I combined my skills in real estate by seeing a lot of open houses and working with people that were new to the business to show me multi-million-dollar homes for sale, mostly in South Florida. Boca Raton, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Palm Beach County. And I was killing it all across the United States, and just about all the houses I hit were shown to me by a realtor. So I'm putting out a book about how to protect yourself from burglary and home invasion, and from the perspective of a professional jewel and art thief who made millions, and I'm not proud of it. I'm sorry for my crimes and the realtors I lied to. You being a realtor and a woman, if you were new, man or woman, you would be the person that I would go to and say, hey, my sister's Donna Karen. She's doing a fashion show in Milan. We're looking for a house on the Intercoastal, in the $4 to $8 million range, $3 to $6 million range. And guess what you're doing? Yeah, you're calling everybody who's got the listings, and you're getting in left and right. I only had one ever ask me for my financials. I think it was like Sotheby's, one of these higher companies that do a lot of luxury homes. They said, can we get something from your account or financial? You can actually afford this kind of house. But most realtors just get you in because that's what, a couple $100,000 commission if you sell one of those things.
Right. Yeah. Hey, I'll take some referrals like that. But yeah.
So what I'd like to, when I put that book out, when I have the draft, I have a couple of people that have key interest in things I'm explaining for crime prevention. When I get to that part, I would like you to read that part or maybe the whole book, the draft. And if you want to write a review, I can put it on the back cover and give you your name and the name of your firm or whatever, and say, "Hey, a realtor read this, and here's her review." Like a back cover type thing. If you'd like to do that, I was thinking about you the other day to reach out for that.
Yeah, I would be honored. I've been a realtor for almost 20 years. So I mean, I actually had a personal experience with a home that I owned, a rental property that I owned that I was going to sell. And it turns out, I'm sorry, my dogs, it turns out that there was a guy local, and he somehow got into my house, probably using a realtor. And at the time they were the lockbox, the push button lockbox. So easy enough, you get the code. He went back, it was vacant. And he went back on his own, and he pretended to be selling, to be the owner selling the property. And he brought this older lady and her son from another country. They didn't speak English. They had $20,000 in the bank. He took the $20,000 on a handshake. Okay. He says, "I promise you." And he lived in the area. He had a drug problem. And so he did a car sting. He went to jail. And then he came out and he was doing a house sting. And so I remember starting in a new office. I had started with Cola Banker. I had switched offices. And the first day I walk in, I get a phone call saying, "We need the keys to the house." I said, "What are you talking about? We bought your house." I said, "What do you mean you bought my house?" I said, "You want to buy my house?" "Yeah, you want to buy my house?" He goes, "No, we bought your house for $20,000. Long story short, cops got involved. The guy got caught. And my house was in the paper." So, so that was another, yeah. So there's a lot of things that go on.
I heard about that. I never did anything like that, but I did hear that people do that, but then they'll rent it. Let's say, would rent for whatever, $25,000 a year. They'll say, "Look, I have to go out of town or out of the country on business. If you can give me, $1,000 cash or cashier's check, I'll give you a year lease paid in full, and here's the keys."
Right.
And people go for it. I'm like, what the heck? I mean, and the home title lock, shout out to Matt Cox. Matt Cox is another true crime guy, Inside True Crime by Matt Cox. He's doing this same thing now, telling true crime stories, and criminals come on and tell their point of view of how they did things to raise awareness. And he's the home title lock guy. He's on CNN and Fox News continually advertising. He's their sponsor now. But he would steal houses somehow. He told me the whole story, and I still don't understand how he did it. But he knew he was a mortgage broker and was able to navigate everything, and looked like liens were satisfied on houses and then take those. And he became so effective that his own success in bad areas of Tampa, like was Ybor City, raised the comps so high that houses that were worth $40,000 looked on paper like they were worth $200,000-300,000 because he kept loading up with mortgages and all kinds of stuff. And then so when he went back, the guy would say, "No, you were selling it for $50,000. Well, now I want 150. Look at all the comps." And he's like, "Great." His comps were responsible for the artificially inflated market. So he was on Secret Service most wanted list. He turned his life around, and he's become a real good friend. I'm going to be down in South Florida here shortly, and we're going to be doing another episode from his studio in Tampa, and going to be meeting with Samantha Markle, Meghan Markle's sister. She's down there, and friends of mine on the East Coast in Boca, Fort Lauderdale. And so, anyways, Cindy, it was great having you on here. Tell me the title of your book one more time. It's going to be in my description and any social media links you want. We'll put them on the description for you. What's the name of your book again?
Thank you so much. So it is. Oh, it's a little blurry. It is what it effing is. So I'm keeping it clean. But it's my journey with breast cancer. I actually have
to the camera. Let me get a good view. Right, put it right up to the camera.
Is that? Oh, it's
a little back, right there. Put it sideways a little bit.
It's hard to, yeah.
There it is. You got to get that there. Listen, I'll put an image up screen. I'll just throw an image up, a clear image. Okay. It is what effing is, and you remove the U. Try to keep it clean, child. Thank you for keeping it clean. And tell us quickly what it's about and your struggle and what you do for a living. And I'm going to put a link so people can find you, because you're not just a realtor in the Northeast. You can represent and help people nationwide.
Yes. Thank you so much. This is about my journey with breast cancer, and it's overcoming all kinds of adversity. And I felt that in like you, in sharing your story, you help so many people. And so my book has helped people all over the world. I've had people contact me, just letting me know, hey, that's exactly how I feel, because I say it like it is. It's not like your typical book. I have a warning label on the back of the book also. And it basically says if you can't handle real language, don't even pick up the book. But so then that led to public speaking arrangements and my talk show. Yeah.
You talk show. I got to get back
Talk
in
show.
the book. All right, listen. So great minds think alike. That the language in that book is not suitable for all things YouTube and my contract with A&E. So let me keep a clean show. Read her book if you can stand the language, but motivational book. She got a heck of a story to tell. One day she'll send me a nice autograph one, and I'll do another interview with her. But also, I'd like you to review my book just before I put it out. It's almost done. So that'll be my third book. The other one's about Glenn Maxwell, about Robert Durst. Another one. Check out my books in the description. Please hit like and subscribe. By all means, Cindy, share this around to get to promote your book and your real estate office and everything.
Awesome.
And send me a link to where you work or where people can reach you if they want to buy or sell some real estate.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're more than welcome. Thank you for sharing your story and for spreading and raising awareness about this scam. Anybody else who knows about a scam going on, wants to come on the show, explain how it breaks down so we can raise awareness. This is for educational and news purposes. And we thank you for joining us. Have a good night.
Good night. Thank you. You're natural.
Hey.